Hi guys. So you might notice a bit of a change in background today. It's because I'm headed to Spain for a week or two and I haven't yet decided if I'm going to bring a laptop with me. I wanted to update some of the case studies before I left, and I don't have access to my normal office or co-working space today. So we've gone a bit old school with the marketing backgrounds. We have the whiteboard and the marketing books. The only thing we're missing is the Lamborghini and the garage background, but I don't have one, so we're just going to gloss over that part. What I do have is an update on the expired domain case study. So if you haven't seen the first video or the first update, we took an expired domain we got some point last year, and I stumbled across a competitor site in a sub niche that has a lot of traffic. I don't actually have the numbers to hand, but it's something like 60 or 70,000 visitors a month estimated, and they don't have a lot of backlinks or authority to establish that site. On top of that, the content is very easy to produce, and they're basically list based. So in any kind of topic like that, if your competitor is doing a top 10 list, if you come along and do a top 11, a top 12, you tend to get more of the traffic. There's more to it than that, but as a basic idea, if your competitors are doing the top 5, top 10, top 15, whatever it is, add a couple more to it and people just tend to click more. So the content is quick, it's easy to produce, which means it's cheap to outsource. We have a more established domain, so I wanted to come along and target the similar topics, chase the similar keywords, and see if we could get some of that traffic. So I'll take you across to the iPad screen here where we have some of the traffic charts. So this is the Ahrefs for the last 12 months. This shows an estimation of the organic search traffic. So you'll see here it slightly starts to see a little bit of traction. So we bought the domain, I think it was like summer-ish. So we bought it around here. The agency took it off our hands. I didn't want to, it's not a topic I know much about or could really talk about. So they started to post content to get it some kind of traction in the search. You'll see it starts to kind of tick along a wee bit here. You see over here, that was maybe November, early December. It started to pick up some traction. So SEO is slow. If you're watching this video, you're probably kind of used to SEO or SEO case studies. It's very rarely an overnight result. A chart like this usually isn't normal. But normally what you see is that slow sustained growth. And we often talk about a hockey stick, which is when things start to really go, well, like this. You kind of see that here, but that's because at this point here is when we started to post a lot of content. So we took the keywords from the competitor site who didn't have much authority. We built better lists than they had, and we churned them out. I think we published a couple of dozen altogether, and that was a proof of concept. I wanted to see if the site would work and what Google would make of it. So in the previous update, we saw this kind of growth, which was good. It was definitely not normal. If you start a completely fresh website in most topics, you don't see that kind of growth that quickly. Since then, we've had this kind of growth. It's dipped a wee bit at the end there, but that's no big deal. It happens. And we've also been kind of laying off the content production. So I published maybe a couple of dozen articles, lists all in, just to see what would happen. I wanted a proof of concept before we took things further. I can show you the top 5 organic keywords here. All of these have been published in the last couple of weeks. So there's not a whole lot of competition for these keywords. These numbers are rough estimations. The volume individually, not a whole lot. 19,000 isn't bad. But the fact that we're ranking 6, 8, 6, 2 for that one, 6, and this is all within a couple of weeks for very, very easy to produce content, bodes pretty well. The organic search chart on Ahrefs is an estimation. So the exact numbers it gives usually wildly off. Sometimes it overestimates because people don't actually click through on some SERPs. Sometimes it underestimates, and that's because the volume just isn't accurate. These things are based on third-party data, and they're often not accurate. But what does track is that the upwards trend. So the site now does, I want to say it's about 60 to 70 uniques a day. About 95% of that or something is from the United States. Usually you'll find google.com, .co.uk, Canada, that kind of thing, Canada, sorry, tends to update slower. So for most sites, you tend to pick up some countries first, and then slowly you rank on the .com and things. There's different reasons for this. I seem to notice it goes in the opposite direction for this site. I think it's maybe just because of the niche it's in, but regardless. So as a brief proof of concept, it's working. We took a big list of keywords from the competitor domain. I actually found 2 or 3 others in similar topics with similar kind of metrics. This is a big evergreen niche with a whole lot of available content, a whole lot of keywords. You can go through hundreds of these without really trying too hard. And our domain seems to be doing well. So I always like the quick and easy proof of concept before I start to scale something. If I start a new website, I'll do somewhere between 50 to 100 articles, and then I will leave it sitting. When you're working with a more kind of established domain, you don't need as many, I don't think. And this domain already had quite a number of articles published from the agency beforehand. So overall, it's doing pretty well. And the goal now is well, it's pretty straightforward. We want to get display ads on the site so it can start to pay for itself. That's when a project gets interesting. If you can outsource your content and you are making more, so I talk about this with the YouTube channels I outsource and the websites I outsource as well. When you're making more than you're spending on the content, it means you have a positive cash flow and you've got it's paying for itself to build. If you're posting a video every day or an article every day, whatever it is, and it's also paying for itself, that's just exponential growth and you don't have to do a whole lot for it. Fantastic. So we want to get display ads on this site so it can start to pay for itself. And the way we do that is technically, given the growth we have so far, we could kind of just sit on our hands for a couple of weeks. We have enough content there that's been recently posted in the last couple of weeks that I do still expect it to grow. So unless something major happens with the Google algorithm, chances are this growth here should continue. But now that we know the domain can rank in these niches, we know our content strategy works because our bounce rate is pretty low. We're having people spend a good amount of time on the site. They're clicking through the other pages. I don't think we have any real affiliate products or anything added on there, so there's no sales and things. But it's a good start, and our goal now is to post a heck of a lot more of that content. So it's still an SEO case study. I'm going to give it probably a couple more weeks before we really do much more with it other than post content. I was talking with a freelancer yesterday actually about taking over some of the content production, so we'll kind of speed things along a bit. But we'll come back with an update once we have some numbers to talk about, and then we'll start to look at actual revenue numbers. The RPM of the niche, I don't think I have anything else in this niche, so I don't know for sure, but it should be reasonably high. There's a lot of products on sale in this market. I know nothing about any of them, so I can't review them. But if someone wants to stick some display ads on the site, and I'm happy to pick up the ad revenue for it. So it's going to be an interesting project. Oh, I do want to add, when it comes to expired and aged domains, your mileage might well vary. It's really not as simple as just grabbing the first domain you see and throwing up a lot of content. I have a couple of aged sites we bought last year. I've heard people throw over in the number like 10%, but I don't think anyone really knows for sure. But a percentage of old, established or expired domains don't seem to really work much differently to a brand new domain. There's a lot of different factors: the kind of domain it is, the niche you're in, the kind of links it has, the history of the domain. There's a lot of different things that can mess with it. And I've got at least 2 domains which look decent. They're in the same niche. They have great links. They have great authority. They've been established for a while, and they're just kind of underwhelming compared to what you would expect for the link profile of that domain. So there's always a wee bit of variance to it. An expired domain isn't always going to do better than a new one. This one certainly seems to be doing well. So thanks for watching. Hopefully the next update we'll see some continued growth, maybe even some revenue. And if you have any questions, comment section below. Thanks.